by giving people the ability to find their voice. Once they have their voice
Yeah.
and find out how powerful it is and how good it feels to use it, they're not going to let it go. And
Yeah.
that's what we need in our country
Right.
now.
Yeah. Yeah. It really is. Anyone who's feeling, bullied or trampled on, and sometimes you need help to find that voice, hence agencies like mine and stuff. And so, and that's okay, because those of us that are stronger at the moment, we're going to help those who aren't quite there yet, but with the realization that we all have a voice and we need to find that voice. And like I said, anything one has a passion for, grab it and run with it, because there's so much work to be done. All sorts of different issues are up in the air right now,
Oh, yeah. And that's
So,
one of the things, too, like about the Pride Festival. Okay, that whole festival is about giving people a voice and letting them express that voice,
Sure.
use that voice, express themselves,
Right.
even against opposition. And
Yeah.
it's events like that are most important. The Jeff Flake town hall last
Sure.
night. Yeah, I saw some of the videos and stuff of it, and yeah, I think that the crowd could have been a little bit nicer and not try to boo over Senator Flake or to scream and yell over the people asking the questions. But for the most part, it's important that our elected officials understand that we disagree with them when we do, and that we agree with them
Sure.
when we do.
Sure.
We've gotten to the point now where
Sure.
they just don't listen. They don't take the time
Right.
to listen to their constituents. They do what they're going to do based on their ideology and their party so they can get reelected. That's not really good representation, at least from my point of view.
Right.
So you're gonna we're starting to
it's an
see
agenda.
more and more organizations popping up and working towards giving people the voice, and that's a good thing for the country.
Yeah.
It's a smart thing for the country. Now,
Sure.
with your organization, for example, say the company that I work for, we're looking at, okay, how do we go about saying, Melissa, we need you to come in and teach people this? I mean, is that something that's through your website?
Right.
How does that work?
Yes. Yes, absolutely. So on my website is all my information, how to contact me. So my website is www.fromvictimtosurvivor.v as in Victor, P as in Paul, web.com. So vpweb.com. And you can just Google From Victim to Survivor and it comes up. And it's got on there my books, my services. It's got my credentials, testimonials from people who attended my stuff. I've got a whole section on quotes because I love quotes. There's a section on Pay It Forward if anyone wants to do donations through PayPal. And then my contact information, they can just type in there, and I get a lot of requests through that. Is, hey, we are a behavioral health center. We're going to have a conference for our staff. Can you come out and present? And I go everywhere. I mean, I've trained FBI, I've trained police departments, I've trained in soup kitchens. So, like I said, anyone who cares about victimology, I'm there. It's not a matter of, a big group or a small group or where they're located. It's something that if anyone has interest in doing anything about, victimization, I'm definitely reachable and open to discussion. Yeah.
Well, that's good. Then it's all through your website, so they can contact you. Now, what exactly? I mean, when you go to do presentations, I mean, I'm sure you probably have like a PowerPoint or some sort of big screen presentation that you can walk the people through. Do when you go into these companies like for the first time, or these organizations or whatnot, when you're looking at all the people that are in there sitting through this, I mean, do you see like a diversity of some that are kind of getting things and some that are just like totally bored shitless or that don't care? I mean, I'm sure you see a little bit of all of that, right?
Yeah, and any time, of course, the bigger the group, the more diversity you see, that's for sure. And, what I love to do is, because again, it's all building empathy. So I've done, some of my more challenging groups maybe has been groups of perpetrators. So I'll go in and so they're sitting there, and maybe they're there because they're court ordered to be there. So they're absolutely not one of them wants to be there. And, I think that they're thinking that they're going to get chewed out or nagged for what they've done. And so again, my whole approach is it's got to be a safe place. And I don't care if I'm working with victims, first responders, or perpetrators. Everyone has a right to their opinion. And all I'm going to do is present facts or case study or, always true life stories, and try to get them to see things from the perspective of the other person. So I've had these groups of perpetrators, and I absolutely love to see how they change throughout the class, because by the end, some of them are even crying, because they're seeing it through the eyes of the victims that maybe they've hurt, which is what got them in those seats. And so, whether it's that or a big conference, say at a company, and it's maybe a diversity class that everyone has to take, and they're just there for the credit for their, for their work file. Usually people leave happy. I mean, they leave, with a new understanding, or they leave with some aha moments. And again, I let them have their opinion, and I never disagree, but I say, well, have you maybe thought of it through this, and try to just give them another side to look through. And it tends to work really well. I don't think being pushy or lecturing somebody for a thought is the right approach. I think that trying to understand where they're coming from, and giving them the credit of, okay, I understand why you feel that way. Maybe let's look at it this way now, Mm-hmm. And that really seems to impact them, because it's not, I never say to someone, no, you're wrong. You can't think that way. If they think that way, they think that way. We have to understand why first, and then reason about it, So, it's a beautiful moment when you see that transition in their face or their stance or their attitude in the class. It's almost like an aha, well, I hadn't thought of that.
Right.
Right. And I love that. Yeah, I absolutely love that moment. It's priceless.
Okay, so since it's on your website, and being a person that wears cargo pants myself, you want to give people a little bit of an update exactly what that means.
Yeah, okay. So I am known as Mel, the Cargo Pants Girl. That's my logo. But that kind of came about in a silly sort of way, because what happened is I absolutely hate shopping. I hate shopping. I do not go to malls. It's just not my thing. And so when I first started my company, I had everything in mind as far as what I was going to do and my books and how I was going to present. But nothing was an issue. But it never occurred to me till a friend said, well, Mel, if you're going to be out there presenting, what are you going to wear? And I was like, oh, my God, that was almost a deal breaker for me, because I thought there's no way I'm going to go shopping every time I have a presentation, or spend, a bunch of time worried about my appearance. I always come across professional, but I didn't want to have to make a big deal of my appearance, because the message, it's not, and so I thought, oh my God, what am I going to do? And so the idea of a logo was perfect, because you will usually see me in black cargo pants with a nice dress shirt. And it totally took away the pressure of what am I going to wear? And I'm not a very feminine person. And so there was no way it would be, these attires that are real fancy. So that's how the Cargo Pants Girl came to be, my logo, because every presentation I do, I wear cargo pants. Also, I have background with military. I grew up with that. So.
Well, I believe you had cargo pants on at Karen and Susie's wedding. So I'm pretty sure.
Yes, I did.
So, but yeah,
it was, yeah.
I love wearing cargo pants, but it's for the fact that it gives me extra pockets to shove all the crap that I carry around with or that I pick up along the way. But I saw that on your website, and I thought, okay, this is awesome because I'm a cargo pants person. Obviously, she is because she's the cargo pants girl.
Right.
So that makes a lot of sense.
Yep. That's my thing. Oh yeah, totally.
Do you get a lot of comments
they're
about
practical. I do actually. People ask me, why, and I tell them it's just I didn't want to have to, mess around with. I mean, to me, that's the superficial part of it,
Right.
So I mean, I'm always dressed up, but I'm not going to spend 3 hours figuring out an attire, that would totally take the joy out of my job.
Right, yeah.
Would be the shopping if I had to go shopping a lot.
Yeah, I can't say I blame you. I'm not really much for shopping either. So.
No, and my little logo picture is kind of what I look like. I have very short shaved hair, and that's me in a nutshell. So very easy. Quick getting ready that way. So, but when we were talking earlier about the, grouping people, it's one of the activities I've done is, especially when I work with people who have been sexually assaulted. It's an activity I've done which brings those aha moments to that, if I could share that real quick.
Oh, yeah, sure.
So what I do, So what I do is I have a binder, and it's filled with mugshots. I actually collect mugshots as a hobby. And so I know I need to get a life. But in the binder, I have my mugshots are all divided by the type of crime that was committed. And so when I'm working with a victim who's very traumatized, it's a very recent trauma that they experienced, they'll say, oh, I hate, I don't know, let's say they were violated by, let's just say, a purple person, just to be politically correct. And I'll say, okay, so right now you hate all purple people, right? And, he or she will say, yeah, that's right. And I'll tell them, I go, well, that's okay right now because that's kind of you protecting yourself. And that's okay because that's what you need to feel safe. However, let me show you this book. So I pull out my binder and I turn to whatever the offense was that was committed against them. And I flip through the pages and I say, so what do you see in here in these mugshots? And they will see every gender, every color, every age group. And so, I say, okay, right now you're protecting yourself by grouping purple people and thinking of them as not safe people. I go, but you're doing two things to yourself here that are counterproductive. One is you're letting your guard down around purple people, but just like there's bad ones, there's good ones, which means you're going to miss out on meeting really neat purple people. And you are letting your guard down with all the other people. And guess what? They're in this mugshot book too. You have green people and orange people and red people, and so I just try to bring out the point that when you group people, even if you've met a horrible person of that one type, you're really hurting yourself and putting yourself in a vulnerable position. And so it's like an aha moment, where with time, working through their trauma, they realize that they can't walk around hating one group of people because people are people, There's
right.
good and bad in every group. So So I like to use that mugshot book for that purpose, because it really brings home the point when they look through it and realize, that everyone's in there. So